The thing you're looking for in Morse is what books are going to be brought up and what music and how those things help solve the case. And in this case, the book that gets brought up is Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance. That turns out to be the big clue, which is important because it's not a very intellectual book by the people in this episode or in this whole universe, because the Morse universe takes place at the University of Oxford, and most of the victims and the killers are associated with the school, and they're very intellectual and hoity-toity, and they can't believe that a policeman is getting the better of them, and he always does. But some of them don't realize that he also went to Oxford. He just didn't graduate. And I don't know why I relate to this so well. I went to a medium-sized state school, and I only got an undergrad, and it took me 11 years to do it. But I don't know. And I watch it so much that my husband once had a nightmare that somebody with this loud song that I'd been listening to was chasing him around Oxford. And we know what the courtyards look like from watching this show. And also, we play a game with each other where I try to trick him into thinking that I've got something important to say, like we'll be watching TV and I'll say, "Oh, honey, I forgot to tell you." And he'll go, "What?" Because he's not really listening because I talk so much. And he thinks I'm going to say, "I need $25, need you to PayPal me some money for a bill." But I'll just say, "Sean Bean was a suspect on Morse." And he'll go, "Oh." But then he started turning it around, and he knows that despite I've done about 4 episodes about it, that I don't really like The Sopranos. And so if we're watching TV, American TV, especially Law and Order or something in that universe, he'll go, "Hey, honey, that guy was on The Sopranos," or just Sopranos. So Deceived by Flight, we find out a little more about Morse than we have before, because a friend of his from college calls him up, and it's been about 30 years since college for these guys. I guess they're in their late 40s. And says, "I'd like to see you. Can we meet up?" And they meet up, and they just talk about their lives and have some fish and chips by the river. And then Morse says to his friend, "What did you want to talk to me about?" And he says, "Oh, I can't remember." And that would drive me crazy. But Morse is polite, the way that people in England are depicted on TV as being polite, and he just lets it go. But in the course of the conversation, the guy had casually mentioned that his wife had a copy of Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance, and that ends up being the clue that solves the case. But what we also find out about Morse, now, it's a running theme in Morse. His last name is Morse, and we don't know his first name because it's embarrassing. Now, Lovejoy also doesn't have a first name, and we never find out what it is. But in Morse, we do eventually find out that his name is Endeavor. But at this point in the show, we don't know. And not only the guy that called him up, who gets murdered, the guy that called him and said, "I need to talk," is the murder victim of the episode. All of the people who are coming to the university for this reunion to play some cricket and stay in their old dormitory were college acquaintances or roommates of Morse. And so we find out that his nickname in college was Pagan. They called him Pagan Morse because he didn't have a Christian name, which I hadn't heard that term a lot in modern United States, but I've read it in books. Your first name is your Christian name, but I guess they still say that in England. I don't know. So there's so much going on in this episode, so many suspects. There's Sergeant, at this time, Sergeant Lewis. He's taken a vacation. He's supposed to be redecorating his house for his wife, but the police need him to come and be undercover and pretend to be a porter at the dormitory, which is kind of like a servant that does everything for these stuck-up students. and also be a ringer on the cricket team. And he's real good at cricket, apparently, Lewis. And he makes this great play in the game in the middle of the episode. And then he says to Morse, "Did you see me?" And Morse is like, "I wasn't watching." And because Morse doesn't like sports ball. And Lewis is like as hurt as if his dad didn't see him make a great play, because that's the kind of weird relationship that they have. But because they don't want to make Lewis's wife mad, they actually get decorators in, paid for by the police, so that he can go and do this undercover job. There's some people staying in the dormitory, pretending to be a husband and wife, but they're actually spies. And there's some people, maybe they're corporate spies or they're undercover. I don't want to say too much. There's some people involved in the cricket tournament who are smuggling drugs. And then there's a guy who is just the type of person that has affairs with everyone's wife. And now this guy, the actor's name was Nicky Henson, and he was on all the shows. He was on A Touch of Frost, and he was on Lovejoy. But what I best remember him from, he was in this terrible 70s movie called Psychomania, where they were a motorcycle gang that could kill themselves and then come back to life and keep being in a motorcycle gang. And it's wild if you ever get a chance to see it. I didn't say who anybody else in the show was. Morse was played by John Thaw, respected English actor who also was on a 70s cop show called The Sweeney, where he played a very different type of cop. And then his sergeant is Lewis, Robbie Lewis, who was played by Kevin Whately. And so many guest stars were on this show every week that you could play 6 degrees of Kevin Whately with Morse. It would be cheating to include Morse if you were trying to connect actors. I wanted to say, because I was watching, actually what made me think about it was I was watching the new version of Inspector Lindley, and the old actor on the original Lindley was in this episode of Morse, Deceived by Flight. But when you watch true crime, which I don't do a lot anymore because it upsets me, I tend to think, how dare this person think that they had the right to do this to this other person? But there's not like a whole list of suspects and everybody has some crazy reason why they're lying to the police. But on TV, and this is one reason I watch these shows over and over, there's patterns. It's comforting to me when a show is formulaic. Not so with movies, but with TV, you want to see the same thing happen over and over. And one of the things that happens is that there's a whole, all the guest stars are suspects, and you try to think, who is the highest profile actor that has shown up this week? They're either going to be the killer or they're going to be one of the people that gets caught committing another crime. And I don't know why they do that. I've been thinking about it, but for symbolic purposes, I don't know what that means, that everyone is lying to the police, everyone is a suspect and has a very colorful reason for being a suspect. I do enjoy that the police on British TV don't carry a gun, and it's a big deal when they go to the weapons room and get a gun. And so what comes out of that is that the killers have to be creative. And in this case, they killed the guy with a wire to a radio that they stuck in his mouth and electrocuted him. And I don't really know what that means in modern times. Maybe this is an old radio from the 60s, because this, I think, is the same dorm that these people lived in when they were going to the school. What else? I've developed a habit of watching cricket. Sometimes it'll come up on sports shows in the middle of the night, and it'll be like, or sports channels, the free sports channels that you get with like your skinny bundle cable package. And it'll be like women in Indonesia playing cricket in the middle of the night and someone gets hit with the bat, or something like that. I don't understand any of it, but it seems a pretty intense game, and I haven't bothered to learn the rules, but I've become interested because of watching British TV. Every show will have one episode where they play cricket, and they usually have an episode that's centered around sports, where the sergeant has to pretend to be on the team. And that happened a couple of times, I think, on Midsummer Murders. So that's a trope. Okay, I like tropes. So, that's my rambling about Morse. You can tell that I love this show. I'm still not feeling very well from, I told you I had a shot last week. I've been having these shots for 7 years, 8 years, and the side effects are getting worse. On Sunday, I was feeling better. And when I feel terrible and then I start feeling better, I always think about the guy in Alien who had the face hugger on his face, and then he got up and he was hungry, and then the thing came out of his chest. Like when I feel bad and then I get feeling better, I'm like, what's going to happen next? And Sunday night, I had like the worst headache I've ever had in my life. I thought I was going to die. And after I had finally started feeling better on Sunday and had gone for a walk and had a piece of cake and driven around, it was a nice day. I went to the store. Nope. Got a headache. And it also could have been because I was intensely playing that remake of Pokémon Leaf Green or Green Leaf, I'm not sure which, all weekend. And, the people that troll everyone online who are saying that they've beat that game in 2 hours. Well, I'm 9 hours in and I just got out of Mount Moon and beat like the second boss. And I think that's how I got the headache. That game is driving me crazy. I did not play any video games from the time of ColecoVision until the pandemic. I just didn't. I took all those years off, and then I got obsessed with Animal Crossing. And then I thought, I can branch out into RPGs now. I can use a controller. I can cook dinner and have a controller in one hand and still be playing something, or hold the controller behind my back. But I'm still bad at the games, and I couldn't believe it when I started playing RPGs, and you take 2 steps and an enemy pops out and you have to fight them or run away, and then you take 2 more steps and then an enemy pops out, and you never get where you're going. And but I had actually, I was vaguely aware that there were Pokemon games, but I started my Pokemon journey with Scarlet and Violet, which does not have that mechanic where you take 2 steps and an enemy pops out. You run all over this glorious, like, um, animated version of what's inspired by Spain, I believe it's called Paldea, and I have put more hours into Scarlet and Violet, and yes, I bought both games, than I have into Morse and Lewis, which is really saying something. But then I had to play Sword and Shield, and then I had to raid my kids' collection, and I played X and Moon and Ultra Sun, and I've played Legends Arceus and Legends ZA, and I tried to play Let's Go Pikachu, but that stupid mechanic where you have to move your arm to throw the Joy-Con to throw the ball really activates the problems I've had from the surgery and radiation. And if I try to play Let's Go Pikachu, I will be writhing on the couch with an ice pack within a couple hours, and I can't really stand to sit and hold the Switch. I want to play the game on the TV with the Pro controller on the 50-inch TV so I can see how cute my Pokemon are. But so I had just wished that they would have Pro controller support for Let's Go Pikachu, because I knew it would have been a really good game. So I was so excited. I knew it was basically this Leaf Green and Fire Red, so I bought the game as soon as it came out. What was it, like last Friday? And there were all these people online saying how much everyone was going to hate it who hadn't played the old games. And I was determined to play it because I thought, well, it's $20. Imagine me in 1983 having $20 to put into a Ms. Pac-Man. That would be unheard of. So basically, I should say I've gotten my $20 worth out of this leaf green. If you think about being a little kid and putting quarters in a machine, but hoping I can go back and beat it, but it's driving me crazy. I think I said all I wanted to say about Morse. I certainly have said a lot. I just haven't been able to concentrate to watch a movie, and I haven't had anything intelligent to say. But I have been dying to tell you about Morse, and I do want to tell you in another episode about something symbolic that I thought of in another episode of Morse, which was called Last Bus to Woodstock. But Deceived by Flight. It's a confusing plot. You find out about Morse's nickname from college. You see someone killed in a ridiculous way. Oh, there's a B plot where a bookstore gets burned down, and there's a radio DJ talking about that. She has an inflammatory sort of talk show, so you think that that's going to be tied in with the murder where the guy gets the radio wire put in his mouth, but it isn't. Not in the way you would think. And you never know who the killer is going to be in these shows. And I said that when I talked about the Murders in the Rue Morgue. And it's either somebody completely who wasn't in the show until they walk in and turn out to be the killer, or it's somebody who's helping the police and not helping them with their inquiries, someone who Morse actually feels sorry for and tries to take up time with. And that's the clue here, that's the case. That and Zen in the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance. I gotta go. I hope somebody listened to all of this. If you like me, really like me, then I'll do some more of these friend chat episodes when I'm not feeling well. And until then, happy Tuesday. I'm going to get some actual work done now and try to get this up later this afternoon. I probably won't put a lot of slides in, but maybe I'll do some fun stuff from my phone gallery. So have a good day.